learn? Would you have been an actress too? What would you
I actually, well, as a very young child, I thought I had a voice. Clearly, I didn't. So I knew, my college essay was on Monopoly. I'm not kidding. My college essay was on Monopoly. And yes, my grandfather said, "Kid, you're just like me." And he was right. I am just like him. I really did know that this is what I wanted. I wanted to continue my family's tradition, and I really see myself as a conduit because I know how lucky I am, and I know how hard my family has worked. And I look at my children, and my brother's children, and my sister's children, and I feel like I am just the conduit so that everything that was developed by my father, my uncle, my grandfather, gets to go down that line and continue that tradition. So I feel like it wasn't a role that was even a choice for me, although I thought it was a choice at first and really had the ambition, I'm going to go and make my mark in New York real estate. And I feel like I did that. You know, I started, I was involved in the listing exchange before the multiple listing service came to New York, and that was, 20 years ago. I mean, that was a long time ago, and, I feel like I tried as hard as I could to make my mark, and really, in the end, I have to, because it's a legacy that I was gifted, and it's my duty, my responsibility, my passion, to make sure that the work that came before me continues in the future, which is not necessarily an easy thing today, given the environment that we're in. And I think that New York real estate, we are so lucky and blessed to be here in the Mecca, in the heart of, where the money comes. Europe ain't the place to be. So, the people who are there, where are you putting your money today when money isn't money? And purchasing power isn't purchasing power anymore for the people in Cyprus, for example. So where do they have to come? They come and they bring it to New York. So thank you. To everybody who has come to New York, but we have to be very diligent, very careful about how we handle ourselves in the future, because this was not my grandfather's New York. This was not my father's, you buy a bond, you flip a coupon, I'm a hero, at 8%, that triple tax free. Really? Let's talk basis points, Dad. What's a basis point? I'm not really sure yet, but I'll figure it out, which I did. So, it's a different world. And, with that, the responsibility is just something that you have to take on if you care enough to pass it to the next generation.
Well, I always say, everybody says, well, how are things in New York? I said, when it's bad, it's good. When it's good, it's great. I feel very fortunate. So, I don't like to do, although I belong to all these different organizations, I don't like to do I'm sorry, NYCREW, people, the women thing. I never like to talk about the glass ceiling. I never like to talk about that the boys weren't nice when we came into the business, because that really wasn't so true. But how about the other men when you came into the family business? Did you find, what happened? Again, don't hold back in any way. I don't want you to hold back. But do you find it today? Do you find any resistance? Oh, first of all, you're part of the family, so of course they always assume, everybody assumes.
No.
Not in your case?
I don't think anyone was expecting that I was going to appear. And that, as I mentioned, even when we were in this panel, when we weren't born yet, obviously, 20 years ago, that I would be staying. And I don't think it's me as a person, it's representative.
Yes.
there have been other cousins who've been there, of my generation who have left, and, I'm still here. I say to some of my other family members, not leaving now, sorry.
Yeah, oh, you're not.
No, not going now, put too much sweat equity in. No, not leaving. I think some respect you and some, maybe they wish they were here and they're not. I can't be everybody's thing, but, and we do have to put a plug in for the women's organizations. You can't
do,
say
they're
that because
wonderful.
they're critically important. They're critically important. It is very necessary that we all support each other, and that maybe early on, I think, the men, before I came into the company, in our family, they had to have 2 years experience outside, and then they could come in, and some reason, when I showed up, and we were in this process of converting many of our family's rental assets to co-ops and condos, and I said, I think I'd spent a summer working, I think I want to come and do this. My cousin flew out and interviewed me in Michigan, and my father said, if you come in, you have to have a real job. You have to have a real job, you have to interview for it, and then you can come in. And about 2 years later, I said, I didn't have to work somewhere else. And I'm thinking, because they think I'm not staying. So here you go.
Oh, I see.
So, that's what I said, I'm still here.
And, yes, you don't find any resistance?
Resistance to what, exactly?
The other men in the
To the men. Well, when I started, I started the real estate brokerage company in here in Manhattan that we had as a family. We had something that had existed, but it wasn't what it became by the time that I left to the country to retire, and then I got sent back in. But at first, I remember there was not even a co-brokerage world out there. And I feel like I'm 43 years old, and when I came in, I was about 25. And there was no co-broking. So I started at A in the Real Estate Board of New York's book. And I decided I was going to call every single broker and say to them, hi, my name is Sherry Bigstein, and we're going to co-broke. And I got to D, and I really don't feel like telling anybody the name of the person who said this to me, but it was a man. And he said, honey, I don't think you're even going to get past me. So you might as well fold up your tent and go home. Well, I'm not going to say who, but it started with a D.
Oh, so now everybody's going to do the guessing game, run to the real estate board.
No.
He's gone.
I gotta tell you something.
Okay.
He was the biggest motivator in my life.
There you go.
Because tell me I can't do it. Just tell me. Please. Please tell me I can't do it, because then I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna do it well. So,
Okay.
that's pretty much personality. Likely or not, it is what it is. So, as a result, I went from A all the way through Z and ended up, actually Z was here with me. Z was 19 years old. Okay, you were 20, fine. Which tells me she was 20.
Oh, look at that.
Z was my assistant who I hired because I knew nothing at 25. So it was good to have somebody who knew even nothing,